Is the mic on? Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to meditation session of the day. It's so beautiful to see you all. So if you feel comfortable, you can close your outer eyes, get yourself relaxed, and just kind of scan through your body from head to toe, just to see anywhere you feel uncomfortable. Take your time to adjust yourself and just breathe in. Breathe into that space where your body is needing some love. And today's meditation is decluttering your mind. It is from a website called New Bloom Counseling. And when I used to live up north, we always did spring cleaning and fall cleaning. And this reminded me of that, so I thought it'll be perfect for us. So I'm going to take you through an imagination, because your mind really doesn't know you're imagining or it's real. So it's a perfect way of getting your mind aligned and cleared. So picture yourself, you're standing in the middle of a large garden. It's filled with assorted trees, bushes, flowers, variety of colors and sizes. Take a look around. Notice any structures in the garden, such as any ivy that's growing on the trees, or a bench or a hammock. Notice in the corner of the garden, there's a shed. There's some garden tools and things are leaning against this. There's also a gentle breeze, just soothing your face as well. As you notice, there's a gate at one side of the garden that leads into a clear path, distance tree line. Just spend a few minutes taking all the beautiful colors, breathing in the scent of the trees and flowers. You begin to realize now this garden is reflection of your experience in this present moment. As you're looking around, notice many plants and budding flowers, lots of dried leaf, crumbled up. It was left behind by the autumn and the winter. These leaves are scattered everywhere. Looking around closely, where are these leaves? Some of the area, the leaves are packed down, forming a damp carpet, blocking some of the plants. These leaves represents experience, feelings, and messages we receive from our internal. They also represent negative beliefs about yourself and others, negative energy that we received through others. You know, the world is full of positive and negative energy. Leaves from the other people's garden also swept into the wind and blows into your own. You decided it's time to clean your space of all this negativity. You took a rake and started to begin to clean them up. Pull them all into a pile outside of the garden to a safe distance from your beautiful trees, plants, flowers. Once you have cleared out all the dead leaves, and now the pile is ready to get rid of these leaves permanently. You know other leaves will come, but you can clean them as well. Periodically, as we maintain our garden, keeping it clutter-free, allowing all the plants to receive water, sunlight, in order for the plants to bloom beautiful. We are setting a fire to the leaf. You're watching the smoke rise up high and high until it trails into a thin tail, eventually dissipates into the sky. As the fire burns out, you feel lighter and free. You're able to open your mind and heart to new experiences, positive energy, and good health. As you can feel through every cell and fiber of your body, the positive energy. Now you're reaching into your pocket. You find some seeds that you have meant to plant quite some time ago. It's time to replenish your garden with healing herbs and beautiful, bright flowers. Instantly, you know where the special seeds needs to be planted in your garden. These seeds are intended for your garden of your life. You're pushing them down into the earth and covering them lightly with soil. You pat them gently and then give them just the right amount of water. As time passes, they go strong and healthy. Even though you cannot see them at first, you just know under the surface, germinating, sprouting, pushing their way up through the earth and into the light. Trusting the process, you can leave nature to do the work. You are free now to relax on that hammock or a garden bench. Just enjoy the beauty that a result of your hard work. Bringing your breath flowing smoothly and easily. Your heart, your mind have so much room now for new things to grow and flourish. You decide that caring for yourself regularly is worth the effort because you feel so much freer and peaceful. Clearing your negative energy that you have been absorbed. In fact, you decide to spend more time in awareness of your body, your emotion, your thoughts, so you know when you need to attend to your garden. Keeping your negative clutter, abundance, clearing your negative power, replacing it with abundant, with positive energy is your new goal. Now it is time for us to return to this space, this time, this moment. Just know all is well. You could wiggle your toes, your fingers, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you all for joining me in the meditation session. We will start our Sunday celebration 10:30. You're welcome to go out to the lobby and grab a cup of coffee. I'm sure the coffee is ready by now. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
And good morning, good morning, good morning to all. I'm John Coriel, one of the licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, Florida. And it's good to have you all here with us this morning. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. We always celebrate your spiritual magnificence. And we're going to do so right now with, musically speaking, the Big Love Band. Let's make them welcome.
Good morning. All right, well, we're going to bring in a classic this morning, so feel free to stand and get the blood flowing.
Good to hear that song again. We used to play that when I was in Chicago. I was up there. Do you have something? No? Oh, okay. You were approaching the podium here, and so I thought maybe, I don't know. I'm glad you all are still standing. Most of you are. We want to do a little welcome to the Center here for Spiritual Living. If you will put your hands together and make welcome, as it says on the screen there. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the Center. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Ernest Holmes is a name you have heard probably quite often, but he is a gentleman who is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths here, found in all spiritual teachings, both the traditional and contemporary. And please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for more information on upcoming events. You can submit a prayer request there and to send us your comments and questions too. And I want to say thank you for Malika Dave, who is holding our high watch for today. And that means that she is staying in a, how shall I say, mode of meditation and just knowing the truth for all of us here in this sanctuary and at home also. So our thanks to Malika. Great, grand, glorious, good God day as the next song coming up here, written by Ralph Leesburg and inspired by Linda Lloyd. Take it away.
to the place that you made for me. I wanna say this great, grand, glorious, good God day. It's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Oh, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. It's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. And I'm glad to say things are going my way. Take it, Scott. All right, come on. It's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Oh, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Yes, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. And I'm glad to say things are going my way. Well, sometimes there's a cloudy sky, but I know the sun is still shining up, and it will show when all those dark and gloomy clouds blow away to make a great, grand, glorious, good God day. It's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Oh, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Yes, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. And I'm glad to say things are going my way. One more time. Oh, it's a great, grand, glorious, yeah, good God day. Oh, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. Yes, it's a great, grand, glorious, good God day. And I'm glad to say things are going my way. Take it home. I'm glad to say things are going my way.
Oh, that is great. That's the saying of Linda's, and Ralph Leesburg took him by the paws or hands and turned it into a lovely song. And at this time, young people who are wishing to attend our youth program are free to go to the classroom there. There we go. And quite a few of them this morning, too. We are developing that, how should we say, Sunday school, I want to call it, but it's not that really. A youth program, and using a lot of the materials from the Centers for Spiritual Living. They've provided us with a lot of good stuff there, and they're putting it to use back there. So we just want to say thank you for that, indeed. And questions about anything coming up here at the center, and there are quite a few things happening and going on. At the table at the back there are information table, and a lot of information there for you. And two, we have some information outside the doors there, which I'll tell you about a little later on, I think. Yes, we have some. Oh, okay, we could do that right now. The decision coming up here, they talk about as far as politically going, the decision 2024, and I think, well, we have a decision to make here too. As you may know, back in a few weeks ago, Reverend Lehiff made his announcement that he is going to be leaving us and moving to Colorado. And we'll be doing that in July. So all our, what do you call it? I want to call them the board of directors, but it's not. The leadership council came up with the idea of either hiring him to come forth periodically or every week, I'm not sure how often, but to come forth and participate as minister here, traveling back and forth. And also our alternative is Reverend Denise Schubert, who has spoken here before, and she lives right here in the area. And so there's a choice there that needs to be made, and we would like to have you make sure that you vote for one or the other. And there's a little round table outside the swinging doors here on the right, and you can see where your vote goes by filling out the form and putting it in the basket there. And we just thank you for your decision there. by today. Yes, thank you. There's a deadline for today. Today is the last day, so you want to make sure you get that done. There's a past life regression workshop coming up on Friday, June 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. A lady by the name of Doreen Conway is Conway is just facilitating that, so you can attend that from 7 to 9 on June 14th. Anything else? Yes, I think so. We have another song coming up here. I'm looking forward to this. Let's put our hands together and welcome Cassie.
Okay, well, if you missed meditation this morning, you've got an opportunity to do a music one. So feel free to close your outer eye if you'd like, take a deep breath, and just listen to this beautiful chant. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is,
Marvelous job by Cassie and accompanied by Maureen. Good job, man. I like that. That's a little something too, as it says, a chant up there is something that we can all use on a daily basis in our lives. God is, I am, right here, right now. Yes, yes, yes. And right here and right now, and heading to the podium is one of our licensed practitioners, and she has been here at the Center for Spiritual Living for a long, long time. Valerie Data. Valerie?
Good morning. Again, let's just in this state of beautiful love frequency that Cassie and Colette just did, let's just give them another round of applause. Something about music, the sound of an instrument and a voice together, that is so beautiful that I could barely close my eyes because I'd be crying, and I don't want to cry right now. So beautiful, though. Thank you. So the topic this week, let's see, where am I? Good to great to grand. And this week's theme is the steps we take. In the global theme notes, there's actually an affirmation, and the affirmation is, my outer life exists in alignment with the truth of my most authentic self. I actually researched in 3 different books looking for something that was concise. And in the end, I had to come back to the Science of Mind magazine. Reverend Joanne McFadden wrote an article, "Which Kingdom of Consciousness Do You Claim?" And she writes, this month's theme, From Good to Great to Grand, speaks to the deepening in consciousness that happens when a person gets serious about living a spiritually centered life. These are the people who pursue the spiritual path with consistency and diligence, integrating their spiritual beliefs into all they do. Just taking a few gems from her article. After she heard a presentation at an Asilomar conference, she had certain realizations. And she writes, the question I ask myself daily is, how can I make my interactions today transformative for myself and others? It may be as simple as engaging in a brief yet sincere conversation with the checker at the grocery store, or bolstering someone's confidence with a genuine compliment. It could be deeper, such as praying out loud with someone or listening intently and compassionately to a friend in crisis. Spirit is infinite, and that means our growth can be too. However, it is always up to us if we want to go from good to great to grand. And she says, I invite you to be a part of creating grand, not only for yourself, but also for the whole of life on this planet. So this is time now for holding someone or a situation in the light. Please bring into your awareness, your mind and heart, the person or situation as we enter a few moments of silence. And so what I know is that each person and each situation held in the light is held in the light of truth. And truth reveals the wholeness of each person and each situation. So we can rest easy and know that everything resolves for the highest and best good of all concerned. So on this beautiful, glorious, great, grand, glorious day, I recognize that one infinite divine love intelligence, ever present, and so present as the divine essence of each and every person. As we allow it, it is the guiding, life vitalizing force of each and everyone's life. So I know everything is at hand this day to support us in increasing our recognition of the truth and increasing our wisdom and understanding. It's with great joy and gratitude that I bless this beautiful community. I bless this day, turning it over to God, knowing that all is well. Please join me in anchoring this in prayer by saying, "And so it is." Thank you. And now it is my great, wonderful pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Senior Minister, Reverend Chris. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you, Valerie. Thanks. Grand Rising, everybody. Wow. It's wonderful to see you here, and it's wonderful to be here. So, the steps we take. So, just by a show of hands, who's familiar with the show called What Would You Do with John Quinones is the host? Has anybody seen this show? I see a couple. Okay. So for all those that don't know, What Would You Do? It's a TV show where they set up these social situations, and they're challenging. They have actors play these roles, and so sometimes it might be like in a restaurant setting where the actor is acting in like maybe a racist way towards the waiter, and then the hidden cameras just to kind of see like what would people do, and there's other ones where might have to advocate for somebody that I saw one where the mom was leaving a baby in the car to run inside to a store and grab a few things, and people had to make like split second decisions. Do we say something, or do we play it safe and not? And for the most part, human nature, we play it safe. But there's a few, like the show's highlight is these extraordinary people that step up. They'll speak out on behalf of somebody else, a complete stranger. They're kind of putting themselves at risk to say, hey, this isn't right. Now, myself, when I watch these shows, I'd like to think if I was in that situation, and we watch it, we're like, oh, if I was there, I would definitely say something. But do we really know until we're there? And what is it about the people that do stand up and say something that sets them apart? Where do they come from? What I want to say is it's a form of self-actualization that these people, they've connected with something within, a value or a quality within that says, this is very important, and they don't even have time to think. They just get up and they act. And so that's where we're looking at this month. When we're talking about going from good to great to grand, we're looking at the process of self-actualization. And today we're going to look at the steps of how we do that. So it begins with identifying and aligning. So I forgot to bring the sheet up. So for anybody who was here last week, when Linda Lloyd, our practitioner, spoke, she had a sheet for us and an exercise that has all these qualities, and it's just to kind of get your thought process thinking, that we go through and pick 20 of these qualities that are important to us. And then we narrow it down to 5. And so we're looking at these qualities within us and deciding like what's most important. So this process, really, I see it as part of what we call the triune nature. The triune nature, mind, body, soul, is one way that the triune nature shows up in our experience. And so in our soul, our innermost level, don't get hung up on the word soul, but it's that deeper part of us that's always existed, that always will. It's our consciousness of the one consciousness. When people say, that I think we just, human beings, we know right from wrong within. And it's in our heart space. We have this sense. And so that, to me, comes from the soul. But then it moves over into the mind. And when it's in the mind, this is where we either consciously identify and affirm, like, these are the qualities that are important to me. But it's also in the mind where we bargain. So we have our qualities that we think are important to us, but then when we're out in the real world, sometimes our mind can compromise. You're like, yes, this maybe isn't the right thing to do, but there's a lot of money in it for me. Or I know I should maybe say something here, but I might get hurt if I do. Like, it's our mind, our thinking part, that rationalizes and directs how we show up. And then the body aspect, one is the physical world that we live in and how we show up in that. And then the second is our actual physical body. So when we're not necessarily in alignment, when we know something true to be in our heart, but then our mind has rationalized that we can bend a little bit on that one, then all of a sudden, like, we're not in congruence with that higher part of ourselves. And so when that happens, we describe it, a lot of times you'll hear it in these centers, that it's a form of, we're not at ease. It's dis-ease. And so when we're not in alignment, things show up in our life that can manifest in our body as actual illnesses. And I'm certainly not saying that all diseases are from the incongruence, but the medical industry will definitely point out that when we're stressed or when we're not in alignment with what we say is important, it can manifest things in our body. So this going from good to great to grand and to really becoming clear on who we are and aligning with it, it's important. Now, I really liked Malika's meditation when she talked about the seeds that we're planting and clearing out the clutter and the leaves. Because those inklings that we get from our soul, those are the seeds that are within us. But what I think, I know, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. All my life, I've had a sense of what those qualities are that are important to me. I think I know who and where I stand. But I had never necessarily sat down and become perfectly clear on it. That's why I really loved Linda's exercise for us, which I think there's still a few sheets out there if you weren't here last week and you would like to do it. It's important to sit down and just analyze, who am I? What is important? What are my 5 most important qualities and values, so that in those situations, like on the show with John Quinones, when they come up, we know. We act because we've already clarified in our own minds what's most important. But when we're not clear on it and then these situations show up, it's a lot easier to compromise on our beliefs. And so, like I said, I'd like to think when I watch that show, like, yeah, I would definitely stand up and say something in that situation. But I've been in those situations. I think we all have. And I look back to how many times I missed the opportunity. I dropped the ball, and I left somebody on their own that could have used somebody to speak up for them. And in hindsight, looking back, like, oh, I wish I would have done that. But we increase our likelihood of it when we go through these processes and decide what it is that's really important to us. So through our steps, identifying our values is the first one that Linda took us through last week. Our first step this week is then just to bring that into our conscious awareness and aligning with it. And then the next step is to set an intention with it so that we do show up in that way. And now one other thing that I would like to preface with, I know the times, I don't know all the times that I've faltered. I'm sure there's times that I didn't even recognize when I missed the mark. But when I have, I want to encourage us and remind myself, to go easy on ourselves. Because the majority, on those shows, the majority of the people that don't speak up, I'm not saying these people are in the wrong, because it's the people that do that are stepping so far out of our human nature. Because it's part of our DNA to play it safe. And this goes all the way back to the beginning of human beings, when we lived, the caveman days, when we would live in clans, tribes. If you did something that made you stand out too far from the group, that made other people uncomfortable, you would get ostracized, expelled from the group. And back then, that would mean basically a death sentence to try to survive on your own in those times. And that's programming is still part of what we are. So we have this sense of like playing it safe. But we have evolved, and we are at this place now where we are creating that world that works for everyone, creating a shift in consciousness. And this is the time where more and more people that listen to their heart and speak up and show up are needed. This is the time. So I want us all to go easy on ourselves when we forget, when we miss that opportunity to stand up and be our authentic self and stand outside of the herd. When we miss that, go easy on ourselves. This is a process. It's a continual process, and it doesn't do us any good to beat ourselves up. So Maya Angelou, this is one of my favorite quotes of hers: if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. The time of just trying to fit in, like, that doesn't serve us anymore. We need the extraordinary individuals that stand up. So now the idea of like that, planting that intention. I love the way the universe works, mind, consciousness works, because while I was working on this talk throughout the week, I came across a really interesting story, and it's about the Stanford Prison Experiment. I'm not sure who's familiar with it. There's a movie that they actually made about it. It came out in 2015, which I've started it. It's on Prime and Hulu and a couple other places that you can watch. But anyway, 1971, Stanford University, a psychologist wanted to see how, he wanted to study a bit about human nature and see how humans adapt to fitting into a new role or a new situation that's outside of their norm. And he wanted to see how people adjust their personalities. So they created a fake prison. He's put out an ad for participants in this study. And when people came in, he made, half of them were prison guards and half were prisoners. And the instructions were pretty basic. When the guards showed up, they all got matching uniforms, a pair of sunglasses, and a billy club, so that they all had this sense of their group, their unity. The prisoners were picked up by real police officers, blindfolded, brought to this place. The guards had them stripped down, delouse them, put on their prison clothes, and receive their number on their prison shirt, that was their new identity. That's the only way they could identify is that number. And other than that, they said, the guards will be watching the prisoners, and the people doing the study will be watching everything through cameras that were out of sight. And that was about the only instructions. Well, right off the bat, one of the guards stepped into the role like wholeheartedly. And he, in like one of the interviews I saw, he's like, I really wanted to live this and do it. And he became cruel and demeaning, and it was just a mean person to these prisoners. And you could see the prisoners adjusting pretty quickly into this role of just being dehumanized, and like the way we kind of constrict or restrict, when we're not feeling our biggest selves. Within 36 hours, one of the participants had a mental breakdown and had to leave. The study was supposed to last 2 weeks, but after 6 days, there was such mental and emotional trauma amongst both sides of the group, they had to stop the experiment. This is one of the original experiments that has led to, the ethics commissions now that are they scrutinize very closely now the way we do experiments, because these people were actually traumatized. But the reason I'm bringing this in is because, well, let me go on a little bit more about the one guard. Afterwards, when they stopped the experiment, and then they did, like debriefing interviews and stuff, exit interviews, the one guard that really got into it, and then the other guys joined in, he said he shocked himself. He couldn't believe the way that he acted towards these prisoners, towards other human beings. And it's something that I like to point out very often is all of us, we have the infinite potential of the divine, which is, when I say infinite, from like the worst, most heinous qualities to the highest and most admirable qualities. We have all of that within all of us at all times. And we're always making choices of how we show up. But if we're not aware that those other qualities are there, they can creep in when we're not expecting them. So my belief here is that if that one guard had done this kind of work before, if he had become clear on what his qualities were and then set that intention, I don't think he would have taken it to the degree that he did, if he would have taken it there at all. So I think that's why we have this power, but we have to be consciously using it. All my life, I've had these qualities that I believed to be important to me, but I never sat down. I mean, there's a couple instances where I have sat down and I have set intentions and it saved me later, but for the most part, it's just a belief. I'd like to think these qualities are important to me, but until we cement them in, it can be easy to falter off of that. So Ernest Holmes, quote, so this is from the book called The Living the Science of Mind. He says, when we fail to live in accord with the divine, so those qualities within that we know, when we fail to live in accord with that, we bring suffering on ourselves. So that's part of this end goal of self-actualizing, of working towards that higher ideal and living it in our lives. So identifying a line, and then we set these intentions to know, this is who and what's important to me, and this is where I'm going to step up. And then the third part is action. This is where we take it out into the world and live it. So reminding ourselves, or reminding myself, that we are spiritual beings. Everything that exists is this spiritual realm in mind, and the physical universe is the physical manifestation, the body of the infinite of what we are, whatever you want to call that thing. I use the word God quite frequently, but it's just a label. It's just the thing that is. And then we are a human having that human experience. Spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around. And so, when I did Linda's list and went through and clarified some of my highest goals and qualities, well, one of them that really stood out to me was kindness. And within that, compassion and forgiveness, acceptance, these are qualities that are in there. And so, again, I just wanted to remind us, or to invite us all to just hold that kindness and compassion for ourselves. Because we are human beings, and from the example of what would you do? These situations arise, and the window of making the decision of how we want to be is very short. And we are going to miss it. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to falter. But in the words of Jason Mraz, the musician, when he says, we win some or we learn some. It's not win or lose. It's not failure when we don't live up to our thing, because it's not failure when we remember to learn from it, to grow, to really anchor in who it is that we are. Sometimes when we make those mistakes and fall short of what our ideals are, sometimes we can make up for it. We can make amends and reach out. Sometimes, especially with strangers, that moment's gone and past, and we may not. But it doesn't do us any good to judge ourselves, to judge others, or to beat ourselves up. We need to remind ourselves that we are human being, having this human being experience, and we're meant to trip from now and again. But as we do that with consciousness and awareness, and that intention to move closer and closer to what we know in our inner being, life flows and it ripples out. And this is how we shift the world. Because when we talk about a shift in consciousness on a global level, we can't reach our self-actualization as a collective if one of us isn't there. So we could say, self-actualization, the definition I gave the first week of the month is just, as a human being, living the highest potential we have as a human being. So on the collective, it's living the highest potential as the collective. But if we've all reached our highest ideal, but you're holding back, waiting for everything else, then the collective hasn't reached it either. And so the best thing that we can do for all of us is making our own work, doing our own processes to move more into alignment with that who and what we are. Patience, compassion as we work through it, because Lord knows we will fail every now and then. But we get back up and we do it again, and we get more and more of those wins as we learn. So here's a quote from Dr. Roger Teal. He's a Science of Mind minister for many years at Mile High Church in Denver, who is now since retired. But anyway, this is from a book of his, and he says, "Every one of us is born to make manifest the glory of God. The most powerful way to fulfill this high calling is to discover and empower your soul's sincere desire, and then to allow this soulful clarity to provide leadership for your choices, intentions, prayers, and actions." So letting those qualities that we have within lead us and guide us into how to show up in this world. So that'll take us to our spiritual principle for the week. We are spiritual beings. So the one infinite reality is both transcendent and immanent. That infinite reality, it's beyond us, and it's also within us and as us. So individual human beings are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe, having a human experience. This is our true nature. So we're divine. There is no, we can make mistakes in this human realm, but in the realm, there is no mistakes. Everything leads us to that one place. So let's have fun. Let's go easy on ourselves. And our spiritual practice is the practice of direct revelation. As individualized expressions of the one infinite reality, we have access to the infinite wisdom and intelligence of the ultimate reality. That knowing that we have in our heart, that's revelation from the deeper presence of which we are here to experience, explore, and find. The spirit playing hide and seek with itself, and then when it finds itself, that's where we are. So we do have an affirmation. I altered it just a little bit. This was the one from Valerie's reading. My outer life exists in alignment with the truth of my innermost authentic self. So if you're in agreement with it and you'd like to join in, I invite you to put some feeling and emotion into this, and we can say it out loud. So here we go. My outer life exists in alignment with the truth of my innermost authentic self. Do we want one more time? Okay. One more time with some feeling. Okay. My outer life exists in alignment with the truth of my innermost authentic self. So thank you on that. So then just to kind of wrap it up here, one more quote from Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind branch of New Thought philosophy. He says, "The ultimate goal of life does not mean that we shall ever arrive at a spiritual destination where everything remains static and inactive. That which to our present understanding seems an ultimate goal will, when attained, be but the starting point for a new and further evolution." So when we talked about self-actualization in that first week, we have this, at least I do, I had this idea that, that's enlightenment. It's this place, and that's what I'm striving for. But when we get there, we are in an infinite universe, and we are constantly expanding and evolving. It's just, we see the next vista. There is no getting there. But like I talked about in the week one, when we look at great teachers like Jesus, the Christ, or the Buddha, from an outside perspective, we're like, that's self-actualization right there. But I'm fairly certain that those people, if they were sitting here, would tell you that they see a whole journey ahead of them of growth and expansion. It never ends. And that's, again, just the beauty and perfection of this universe that we get to experience in. It's always more to expand on. And so, with that, I want to encourage you to just, when we talk about self-actualization, it's a process. And every single person here, again, unless you were dragged by a spouse or somebody that said, you have to come with me. Most everybody here you're in it. You are self-actualizing just by the steps that you're taking, by being open-minded, by asking what's within. this is it. This is how we do it. And it's just that continual process that creates this world that works for everyone. Eventually we'll get there, but then we'll realize the next step. This is a world that works better for everyone, but we will always see another way that it can work even better yet. And that's the excitement, that's the joy of living from that place and that knowing from within. So with that, let's go to that place within, if you're comfortable, however you like to do that. And this is what we call affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment. So we begin by just acknowledging that there's one infinite consciousness, one mind, one life, that life force that is in, through, and everything, as everything. The same energy that orbits the electrons in an atom, creates the galaxies, breathes our lungs for us without us ever having to think. That one infinite life and presence, whatever we call it, it is a conscious awareness, a thing that is aware of itself and its infinite nature, that then manifests as each and every one of us in order to find itself and know itself thoroughly. So as we recognize that one infinite presence, I affirm and avow that I am that. I am a direct manifestation of that. Everything in my being is of that. There's nothing outside of it. Every single person that hears these words is a manifestation, individualized in their own unique expressions and combinations of the infinite qualities and values and traits that exist in our own unique ways that make us appear as individuals and to share the joy, the creativity, the diversity, the love, the expression that only each of us can do in our own unique ways as it combines together in this wonderful tapestry of infinite life experience. So I use these words to affirm and avow that there are deeper qualities within me wishing to emerge, and that these qualities are within all of us in varying degrees, varying traits. So may we each align with what we individually believe to be our own unique qualities in the highest perspectives. May those qualities lead us throughout this week. May we bask in the protection, the golden white light that's always around us, knowing that infinite part of ourselves that's deep within can never be harmed, can never be reduced, nothing can add to it. It's never less than anybody else and never greater than anybody else. It's all the infinite, divine expression, leading one another back home into that one eternal consciousness that we can visit at any time that we go within, and that we carry this without us. So may that love with the capital L, the driving force of this universe, surround, carry, and be with each and every one of us as we go through our journeys and our expansions throughout this week and beyond. So in gratitude, love, and appreciation for everyone who is on their own individual path of self-actualization, I say thank you. To the law that takes our words and our intentions and makes it manifest in our physical world, I say thank you. To each and every person who's ever asked what's important, who's ever gone within, who has a desire and intention to see a world that works for everyone, I say thank you. So may the blessings follow us wherever we go as I release these words and affirm it is so by saying, and so it is. So it is. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see our wonderful greeters getting up to help with this next part. So this is where we invite you to share from the bottom of your heart, from the bottom of your pocketbook, however, like where you feel spiritually fed. It's a spiritual practice to give and then to receive, and it's in a constant flow, and so we make it easy for you to support the center and the philosophy and creating this home that'll be here for another 50 years. We still have to recognize that we are in our 50-year anniversary, which is pretty awesome. So there's many ways to give. You can text to support, send your contribution through PayPal or donate button on the website. It's very easy. I love our baskets here in person. You can mail a check. If you have any questions, we'll help you at the back table when you come in. And you can also put prayer requests or the poll that we have sent out. You can also place that in here. And we have an affirmation that we like to share together. So if you take your offering in your mind or in your heart, however you like to do it, and we'll say this affirmation out loud. We say, today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. And so it is. All right. And then offertory by Big Love Band.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
So it is with great joy and appreciation that we receive these gifts, knowing that they are multiplied, pressed down, that they spread out in this world, the spiritual circulation, and all the ways that it shows up in this world. And it is truly a blessing for those giving and those receiving that this is God's love and energy, and so it is. So thank you. So thank you. Thank you. And I need to say thank you to the band, because how lucky are we to have the Big Love Band with us, who are on fire today, as always. Yeah, thank you for Richard for filling in for Brian, which is always nice as well. Yeah, I was touched. The duet that you did, the harmonizing was just wonderful. And then have to give props to Ralph Leesburg, who's probably watching at home, because great, grand, glorious, good God day, like that gets in your head. It's infectious. So that being said, thank you, Big Love Band. Honestly, we are blessed to have you. One thing that we forgot to mention, we didn't have a slide for next Sunday is the fourth Sunday, so it is our potluck Sunday. So bring a dish to share. Come stay in community, break bread together. We also have our community meeting very briefly while we're setting up for that.
There's no community meeting.
Oh, no community meeting this month? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, our leadership council meeting got postponed a week. Thank you, leadership council, because that was for my needs. So yeah, even better. There's no community meeting. You just stick around and eat. We'll get set up and we'll they're not very fun, but they're easy and they're fast. That being said, come next week and share and food together. So thank you, everybody. Oh yeah, don't forget about our practitioners will be up here. They're certified prayer practitioners who have been steeped in the philosophy. They're very good at praying. If there's something that you would like prayer for, please come up and see one of them and get your miracle minute. I think that's it, right? So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Big Love Band.
Woo. All right. Well, we'll remind Reverend Chris of the words now.
Here we go. You better stand up.